Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Blazy B, where I'm Blazed and I'm B. And today we have a special guest. We have an author in our midst, amongst other things. We have Wells Jones here with us today. And okay, so first of all, here's the thing. I'm not a big reader. And I read this book, granted audiobook, but the audiobook was so good. So I'm still getting into this like reading zone. So then to have this book kind of be thrust into my life and then connect to it was actually really special and very just like heartwarming and eye-opening to me. So that's pretty cool. So now I'm sitting with you, Mr. Wells Jones,
Yeah.
and we're just going to chat about this book. So, to start off really quick, we got the brief synopsis. So this book is called A Line in the Sand. And so it's a story of lifelong friends. We got Magnus and Finn, who embark on this epic adventure inspired by T.E. Lawrence, aka Lawrence of Arabia. And this journey takes them from Europe through Levant to Arabia, unraveling the mysteries of the Middle East and its diverse cultures. They're joined by two younger proteges, one Jewish and the other Arab, who enrich their understanding of the region's complexities and bring a deeper appreciation for the Middle East. So, welcome, Wells, to Blazy B Podcast.
Do I call you Brittany or Blazing B? You
Oh
know.
my gosh. Oh, Blazy B sounds so formal. Just call me Brittany.
Okay, Brittany. Yeah, who wrote that book? Oh, read it.
I'm looking at him. What a guy. What a guy.
I want to know about this. Yeah, well,
Right? It's like so intriguing. Just a synopsis. Truly.
if people really listen, if they heard that, then there's some pretty deep things there, and some cool things. Some young guys, and
Yep.
it's the Middle East, and yep, it's a lot of guys.
A lot of guys in the Middle East.
We weren't sitting down having dinner with the daughters and the moms and the cousin females. That didn't happen.
Okay.
It's something that it's just the way it is in Saudi for sure, but
Okay.
we can get further into that. But
Yes. Okay.
it's so nice to
So,
be with you, Brittany. Okay, this is cool. Thanks for the synopsis. Fire away. What do we got? What are we going to do?
heck yeah. Okay. So I want to know, you guys like did this adventure. This is an inspired story from T.E. Lawrence. Yes. But then you guys actually did it. But were you planning the book to take this journey first? Or were you guys like, we're going to do this and then write about it later?
Okay, there's two guys. Since you haven't mentioned my buddy
Yes.
Miles,
Miles.
Miles Spencer and Wells, Miles and Wells, and I'll give you a clue: Magnus and Finn.
Yes,
Wouldn't-
and I got that literally after we talked. And then I'm listening to this book and I'm like, oh my gosh, how much of a Finn is this man? This is like crazy. I
Oh,
love it.
okay, cool. Miles and I, did it start with the book or the adventure? It started with an intention. There were two things happening at once. For one thing, we hadn't seen each other for 4 years. I was in DC running a foundation. We had worked together before that, and then I split off. We did a show called Money Hunt that was on PBS, and it was very exciting and quite
Wow.
yeah. And so I took my family to DC, took on a chief operating officer job at a foundation that was high profile. It was great. Came back through and he says, "Yeah, do you know anything about T.E. Lawrence?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You kidding me?" I said, "Of course." I said, "I was going to do a one-man show. I'm trained as an actor. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts,
Heck yeah.
realized I couldn't make a living doing stage off Broadway in New York City, filling and with commercials and television. Didn't work. So I had to have a production company, which I did with my then wife. And that
Amazing.
production company took us to DC. So we're on our way
Okay.
back. And I said, "Yeah, Miles, I was going to do a one-man show and I was looking for who to be." And I remember seeing Lawrence of Arabia. And I thought, Peter O'Toole. Now, look, I'm not Peter O'Toole, but I thought, why not? And
Heck
so I
yeah.
started reading and really got into it. And then finally I got to this book or someplace, And it said, yeah, T.E. Lawrence was 5 feet 5.5 inches tall. I said, what? Really? That
Small
changes
man.
the dynamics. I'm 6'3". And
Okay.
Tool is like 6'1" or 6'2". He was when he was alive, you know. And so anyway, I realized I can't do it. And I told that to Miles. He said, get a bigger chair. We can go around. Stop. Time out. I'm not going to do T.E. Lawrence. What's on your mind? He said, look, it's 2005. This post 9/11, it's not stopped. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we've got 9/11, 19 terrorists just rattled the heck out of the United States and the world. We hate
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia. We
Mm-hmm.
hate any Arab. We look, it's like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
is it
Mm-hmm.
the phobia against it all? And not only that, when is retribution for an act that someone else did? When do you stop? It's been 4 years. And now there's weapons of mass destruction. Now there's this. And he said, T.E. Lawrence didn't feel that way. I said, I know.
Mm.
Loved him. He loved the culture. He loved the land. In
Mm.
verse, he wasn't trying to change them. He wasn't
Yes.
saying, you know what? I want that well. Water, not
Mm-hmm.
oil. I'll just take the well. It's like, no, 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 no. I want, la. You know, my family's had it for hundreds of years. We come
Mm-hmm.
through here. This is our well. And it's that kind of simplicity. And the
Yeah.
tribes, you have all the tribes, and they fight amongst themselves, and that's their business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Hatfield and McCoys. It's family names and long, groups of people that have feuds.
Yeah. And it's not really our problem, our
Exactly.
business.
So we said we want to do a play. We were
Mm-hmm.
introduced to a Broadway producer. Now this wonderful woman produced Elephant Man. I mean, so many Nicholas Nickleby, Amadeus, more Dracula. She won five Tony
Wow.
5 years in a row, and then she's been
Damn.
ever since. That was in the '80s. We met her. It was literally 10 minutes. We said we want to bring Lawrence T.E. Lawrence back to life,
Uh-huh.
Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
and bridge an understanding of how we got into this Middle East mess. So Miles and I looked at each other and said, "You know what?" I said, "I do know." We said, "We have to go." So that's
Wow.
the book wasn't in our head at all. And that was in
Okay.
2005. We trained
Mm.
for 8 months, Brittany, and we did the trek
8 months.
of training. And then
Yes.
we did the trek in the spring of 2006. It was really at the height of the heat in the world.
Whew.
And there were no Americans hanging out on the Red Sea beach or no.
I can imagine.
Consultants, Blackwater, Triple Canopy, Centurion, private, security guys that were all set to blow up anything they got in the way.
Damn.
Fallujah happened, things happened, but not Americans.
Yeah.
Just showing up, and took a lot to get there. So that's it.
Yes.
Well, the answer. See how the tangents go.
It's great. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. So
Okay,
then, okay, so tell me then, how long did that journey take you?
the journey. Which journey? The
Like
actual.
the actual Saudi journey that you guys took.
Okay, we went from Saudi Arabia. This is the path following T.E. Lawrence during the Arab
Okay.
Revolt with Emir Faisal. Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which is the southern part. It's near Mecca and Medina, but going
Mm-hmm.
up along the Red Sea coast, all the
Okay.
way up to the Gulf of Aqaba, to Aqaba, which is
Uh-huh.
Jordan. You just cross over the border right there, right near there, and then going
Wow.
through Jordan. And when we we went to a lot of amazing cities. I mean, we did go to Petra. We did go on camels all over Wadi Rum. We did 50-mile camel ride on 4 days,
Wow.
and going around with little Saba, who was a Jordanian camel owner guide, and this is how he made his money, for his
Wow.
family. And this guy wore flip flops and keffiyeh and all this stuff, and just jumped on camels, and the three of us headed out. So anyway, going up through into Damascus, Syria was the end goal during the revolt, because that's where the Ottoman Empire had its
Yes.
administration. And so the whole point was to get there first and to take it over,
Mm-hmm.
claim it, so that the Arabs could have their independence. Now, that did not happen. And
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence came up with many brilliant ideas, and he had key players back him with the Arabs that
Yeah.
were able to talk to the tribes, because in order to get these guys didn't know how to fight in the war.
Mm.
They blew up train tracks. Lawrence taught him how to do that and then disappeared. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
a good way, you know, train
Yeah.
coming down through, and they blow up the tracks, and it's just break the spine of the Turks and the Germans
Mm-hmm.
that were in their supply line. It wasn't to kill Germans and Turks.
No.
It was about it was guerrilla warfare, but it was not set up to kill. It was set up to blow up the trains, hold them at bay, take all their goodies. It's called booty, and then disappear in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's
So
what
then
we
did you guys feel that vibe? Like, I mean, you guys are walking through the desert. You're taking camels. You're doing this
did.
exact route. Like, are you just like, whoa, T. Lawrence? Like this, just like you're feeling it, you're vibing with it?
Oh, absolutely. Particularly when we did use local cars that
Mm-hmm.
took us from one place to another. That may be another part of our conversation: the security and how we were trained in protection.
Yeah,
And
just go deep into that.
well, we part of getting there was we had to get visas to get into Saudi Arabia. The two
Okay.
difficult places were getting into Saudi, because it's not just like you apply to an office and they look
Mm-hmm.
at it and they go, okay, boom, there you go. Mm, there's
Okay.
there's games, there's political rivalries in the Saudi government, like with the Chamber of Commerce, is the one that has to approve, and you have to have a sponsor to go into
Interesting.
the country, and the sponsor has to prove everything, has to be proven, what is being done, who this is, and why. And so ultimately it's the Chamber of Commerce in Riyadh that approves, and that's for the whole
Hmm.
country to come in. And it was 2006 when we applied.
Wow. And is
Well,
that just for Americans or that's everybody?
it was everybody, but no one was going there.
Yeah.
Really understand that no one was there. And how do we know?
Yeah.
Because we have all these guys in their cafes and their kit, and they're sons of princes, and I mean they're the upper echelon of Saudi.
Wow.
We did get in. We got in because Miles was a member of YEO, Young Entrepreneurs Organization. It's an international organization,
Okay.
and there happened to be a chapter in Jeddah of
Wow.
guys that were a part of this international group. Young Entrepreneurs Organization is now called EO or something
Okay.
else, because you have to have a certain amount of capital and money to be a part of this group, and they have forums. Anyway, Miles got in particularly because he wrote a book called Money Hunt: The 27 Rules of Business, and it was based
Okay.
on the television show Money Hunt. We won't get into all of that, but so he was invited in, and the individuals that were working this for us, that was the convincing piece. They have a book. He has his bodyguard has to go with him. It was listed. I mean, yeah, I guess I have. done things like that for Miles. He would admit. Miles comes up with the idea, but I get us out of it.
There you go. It
I mean,
works.
some of the wild stuff, but that's okay, and it's in the book. So were able to get in because of the book, and he came in to speak on the book. We did get in there just in time. We finally had to book all of our plans, and that was the first stop. And he wore the Arab kit. It was a dish dash. It's white, and
Okay.
he had a cafe. I mean, he was set up just like the men in the room.
Okay.
And I was in my, basically khaki desert gear,
Mm-hmm.
not a safari jacket with an ascot, nothing
Yeah.
like, you know.
If
And
only.
yeah, right. So he ended, and they said, "Oh, wow, wonderful, wonderful." And then one man stood up. He said, "Why are you here?" And we were prepared.
Yeah.
Oz went, "Yes." And in
Mm-hmm.
Arabic, he said, "We are here to see with our own eyes." And the room went, "Oh, what's it?"
Oh.
And Miles said, "We have come here, and you have allowed me to get inside the tent. Thank you. We are
Mm.
here to follow T.E. Lawrence." And as soon as he said T.E. Lawrence, the room just went, "Ah, what? Hey, oh." And he said, "And the Arab revolt, we're starting here. We're going up to Damascus to retrace the steps of the Arab revolt and to bring a better understanding of what we see along the way back home to
Mm-hmm.
America." And they all stood up and applauded.
Wow.
No one comes. Oh my, wow, it's like, this is amazing.
Wow.
No Americans come because of 9/11.
Yeah.
It's been four
Mm-hmm.
years, 5 years. And he said, "This is amazing." And he said, "Yeah, my uncle knew T.E. Lawrence. Oh, yeah, my grandfather knew T.E. Lawrence." And they're talking,
Wow.
and they're talking that way. So we got into the country, and
Holy shit.
the
Wow.
book was not, this was about the journey. We were working on a play, high powered Broadway producer. We had a team
Mm-hmm.
together. We had a writer. These are named people. There are three that are known. I will not mention them right now because we didn't accept what they came up.
Uh,
A woman, a fourth writer, um, has nailed it to the point.
really?
Yes, and it's taken almost 20 years to get this going,
Wow.
and just hundreds of pages of notes because we poured ourselves into the research to go on the track, and then of
Mm-hmm.
course to continue. And we wanted it to be authentic, and we wanted, Lawrence is the main character and so forth. And now it's become Gertrude Bell, a female, is the fulcrum point between Lawrence and Faisal, and they're at the Paris Peace Conference trying to reverse the agreements that should never have been agreed to, and they failed.
Mm.
But it's the basis of the warring in the Middle East. These
Damn.
agreements, declarations, assurances, letters, all at high levels, and ultimately at the Paris Peace Conference, they were doomed. And the whole area was set up for fireworks.
Mm.
So we trained to go, figured out how to get in. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the first things we realized is that we needed to pick our path, and we needed assistance with a travel agency. And it's like back in 2005, there weren't hip, cool travel agencies. Yeah, you want to, go to a lat long on a mountain and free fall,
Yeah.
or, like,
No,
no,
did not exist.
no. We found a company called, of all things, R. Caruso and Company, like Robinson Crusoe.
All right.
And Bob, I believe his name was Bob, and his daughter were running it. And we said, "We want to go to the Middle East." And he said, that's very dangerous. How are you going to get in? We'll figure that out. What we need first, if you want to take us on, because we're going to go from Jeddah to Damascus, and then we want to get into Israel. They said that's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming from an Arab world going into a Jewish world, and there are protocols. I said we'll figure out how to follow protocols or what is necessary to make this happen. What we need you to do is read Seven Pillars of Wisdom to understand what we're talking about.
Mm.
And he said, we'll do it.
Okay.
And we understood the
Wow.
cities, the places, and we ended up with local drivers. I mean, you never saw cars so old and beat up and, fringe on the inside and purple, velvety stuff to cars that looked like they'd been blown up. Probably had been. I mean, they were charred.
Damn. Yeah.
Local drivers. One driver did not know the next driver. If we were going from one city to another city, we were dropped outside gates, outside doors, outside, and watched the driver that brought us there turn around and go back.
Okay.
And that came from our risk conflict management assessment training with an SAS major retired that was appointed by the Queen of England to do that for Prince Harry and Prince William.
Damn.
And his name is Jamie Lothar Pinkerton. What a brilliant man. He was with the Irish Guard.
Okay.
We found him through a kidnap and ransom insurance company.
Wow.
And his specialty was that and checkpoints and
Dang.
and getting through countries safely or knowing in advance what to expect, how to behave, what you wear, how you look at people,
Wow.
tone of your voice, technology out of sight, no cameras, just many little things, how to greet, look in the eye of and it's usually a man, assalamu alaikum. They
Okay.
have to answer you. No matter if they are an enemy, they have to answer. If they don't answer,
Really?
there's trouble. Yeah, you can have it's the equalizer, piece of board,
Oh.
and then with you, it sets the tone, and you look directly.
Okay.
And we're sorry. That's what we heard. We're sorry.
Wow.
And like
From the peoples of
yes,
not even, it's not even them.
no, it's
And
not.
you're
But
just apologizing for like a whole event in time that has like crushed us, which is like, yeah, that was 2001. That was a very long time.
yeah,
Yet there is still, my friend still gets randomly searched at the airport.
that's
Okay.
yeah.
Random, huh? This Pakistani kid for sure. Like, come on, every time. And it continues to just be that way. And that's that. We have that prejudice instilled in us, and it's sad.
Well, when you go, as we did, again, it's nearly 20 years ago that we were there, but the history repeating in the sense of the crisis, whether
Mm,
it's in Israel with Gaza or the different terrorists, it's just escalated. It hasn't been solved. I mean, it escalated to the point of October 7th, 2023. And that's horrific what happened. I mean, imagine going to a concert and just doing the damage that was done, that Hamas did. And so we found, um, as Americans, even going through 39 checkpoints, we found that there was a surprise if they could speak English,
mm,
seeing an American passport. And he's like, American. Yes, why? Why here? Why are you here? Are you consultant? Consultant means triple canopy, black water. We kind of looked that way. We were very fit, and hair was really,
Yeah, you're ready for it.
and we were American, the only ones that they saw, but many didn't. I mean, we were going through checkpoints that in the middle of nowhere. I mean, some had like 22 gauge rifles and not assault rifles. And some of the guys were, out of uniform. They're sloppy and they could not speak English. But when they see the
Wow.
American passport, they just, all of them just were like, wow, this is special. And
Oh.
they said things, but the way they said it, we didn't know really what they mean. They would say, you're welcome. And it was like we were being welcomed.
Oh.
And there
It
were
is just
definitely,
it's just like it is sad just how we just have this prejudice in us from that time. And even nowadays, I mean, we just saw Trump's AI of the Gaza Trump or Trump Gaza or something like that. Like there we have no clue what it's actually like over there. Yet our brains fill in all of this like evil mixed with poverty, mixed with just like pure ignorance is what it is. And so for you guys to actually go over and then them to be excited to see Americans, like I wish we could go over there. I wish there was an idea. And I mean it is hard to get into and it's not a place you just like go vacation. So yeah, it's interesting hearing what that is like.
it was once we realized, but it didn't take our focus away from levels of safety and
Mhm.
protection. One thing,
Mhm.
I'll just call him Jamie, our trainer, said, for instance, driving up to a checkpoint, someone else is driving, not us. And oftentimes little cars or big, like old Suburbans, like you've never seen them like this before. Suburbans
Interesting.
go back to the 60s, like the original things. And at any rate, pulling up, and he said, if anyone in front of you is, if they're not in uniform and they're holding a weapon, you must get out of there. You must.
Okay.
He said, and during the kidnap and ransom section of our training, it was, he just said, let me start with breaking down by country that you're going through. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone's bad. This is just what you as an American have to look out for because they
Mhm.
see you. You are being watched. No matter, you may think you're not. You're being seen.
Mhm.
That filters around to different people. There's these two guys, and so you just keep your head low and get in and get out and keep moving. You know,
Mhm.
don't hang out. Oh, this is fun. Look at that.
Yeah.
We figured out how to palm pictures so we could spread our fingers. We had little Panasonic Lumiexes that could fit right in your hand. No one would know. It was even didn't even click. It was like, well, it was a little click. The
Okay.
hard part was at night. It happened with Miles. We were in the Jeddah, the old Balad market, and it's like everything's done late at night. People eat like at 1 in the morning.
Oh,
They,
geez.
I mean, it's like they get up at sunset, and it's just a different schedule. Not that they get up,
Interesting.
but they don't. Their schedules for the day are different. So at night, the men are playing backgammon and they're slapping things around and they're in just these, side streets. And so Miles wanted to get a picture and it flashed. And the guys just went
Oh, no.
like, and he was brilliant. He said, hello? It confused
Smart
them.
move.
And he said, hello, and just kept walking. Yeah, no, yeah. And I'm behind watching these guys and going, hey, what happened?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
he says hello instead of anything else. These people love
So
what we
like
thought.
what would happen if you get caught taking photos?
Oh, there would be. It depends upon where you are. If you're taking
Uh,
photos like at a border crossing, um, you would get arrested.
okay.
And because at border crossings, and we have pictures at border crossings, and there are signs like going from Jordan into Syria. There are signs everywhere. No, a camera, and there's a red X out of it. Prohibits
Really?
punishment. Blah blah blah. We got pictures of that. But we were bold,
Yeah.
and our driver in the story, the driver came out, and when he just went ballistic on us, he went wild. Miles had the camera, and he just said, "I said, stay in car. I paid big bakshish to go to a gig. Blah, you," and he was just fuming. He said,
Ooh.
"Don't touch me. No." And he said, "They're coming. Get in the car. Get in the car now. Now." We thought he was going to be, gone for 10 minutes. He went in because there was a line. There was a line coming out the door. We thought, how is he going to get at the head of the line? Well, he did. He must have paid his way. Bakshish is, his payoff. His way,
Okay.
bakshish. And so, and he told us to stay in the car. Stay. I'll be back.
Yikes.
And we go, hey, let's get the picture over here. But
Bold.
at any rate, so we were trained to handle things, and there were times at crossings or at checkpoints that were intense, very intense. One is going to the Dead Sea, which is on the Jordan side. We were on the Jordan side, and we wanted to go down to the salty water. It's well below sea level, and this almost blue green, and it's. I mean, if you get it in your eyes, it's like putting Tabasco in your eyes. Like
Oof.
it's just
Yikes.
horrible. But everybody's protected, and you put mud all over yourself, and it's a very healing thing. They have all these
Hmm.
products that are from the Dead Sea, and so getting there, coming out of Amman, Jordan. This is a checkpoint. This is an example.
Okay.
We pull up to the checkpoint. We know it's a checkpoint. There's a couple of cars. We see it. There's a truck in front of us, so we don't really know what's going on. We can see, but you don't sit there and go. You, you just sit,
Okay.
and you don't do any movements. You don't look like you're looking around. You just stay calm, totally. You don't laugh and yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just it's serious.
Okay.
And a guy is in full flak jacket. The truck pulls away, and I'm looking at the guy in the flak jacket, and he goes, "Passports." Oh, it's passports. You know. And you hand the passport. The driver had our passports. Hand him. The truck pulls out of the way, and there's a tank right in front of us.
Oh God.
The truck turned right in front of the tank, and the barrel of the tank is lowering on us. And I said, "Miles, do you see what's going on?" I said, "The barrel is moving. It's moving, right?" And I'm not. Yeah, it moved. It's on us. Meanwhile, the guy's going, "America, America," and we're going, "Yes. Why are you here? We're visitors, visiting Jordan. We want to go to the Dead Sea." And he said, "Very well." And he gives us back, he said, "You may pass." And the little car pulls up. I mean, the barrel is like 10 feet away.
Oh my God.
And we make our left-hand turn. It's the one road that goes north and south of the Dead Sea. And I say to the driver, "What? Why is there a tank?" And he just interrupted me. He went, "Them! Israel? Them!"
Oh.
It was the first time that we ran into opposing sides, anger,
Hmm.
hatred. And it turns out he was Palestinian.
Hmm.
And he was our driver. He was assigned to be our driver. We had raised money to do this trip and gave a quarter of the money away to a foundation that's called Seeds of Peace.
Hmm.
it's a model that we've used on several different adventures that we've done, Miles and I, where we have the participants. In this case, it was just the two of us raise money to pay for the event. We didn't use just our own money. We raised money and we promised certain things, but they were doing it. It's all part of the show, the play,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding. And maybe we'd write a book, but that wasn't in our mind. And we had visited the Seeds of Peace in Amman, Jordan, and met some of the students that were a little older, but the camp is set up in Maine for high school thought leaders, Arab and Jew, to
So
come
cool.
to come together since 1993, to come together to resolve conflicts. And one of the side stories to that is, and well, the driver in the car worked for Seeds of Peace, so
Mm.
was a part of them. But with us in the car, he erupted. He lost that moment of control,
Mm-hmm.
and he hadn't talked, hadn't said much. But going back to the Seeds of Peace, that's how Jeremy and Abdu. Jeremy's the real one. Abdu is a combination of two people. We call him Abdu. One of them is Abdu.
Okay.
And so in the book, so
Mm-hmm.
Abdu is Arab descent, a mix, and Jeremy is a Jew, and he's with the IDF. And we talked with people even in the Middle East, in
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, and then in Israel. That was like, yeah. I said, well, what happened after you did your 2 years service? And they said, well, I said, what happened during it? Did you have to come up against, you know, harming Arabs?
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk to that. But I
Mm-hmm.
am still friends with my brothers and sisters that I met. This is an Israeli. Arabs the same way. So Jeremy and Abdul went to that camp. We call it Seeds of Hope in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But Seeds of Peace is a
Okay.
very real place and
That's
magnificent.
so cool.
We met with the founder, John Wallach, had passed on, and his wife was, head of the house, leading the charge. They had groups in so many different countries, areas of conflict, and it
Mm.
was working. And when we met the people, the campers that went through this, the stories were just unbelievable. It's like one saying, I, my mother and father say, why are you going? This is crazy. What are you doing this for? You know what you think. You know what's going on. And he said, I want to go. And he said, okay, we'll go. We'll help you make that happen. And this lady saying, I swore to myself I would never talk about, Arabs the way my parents do.
Mm.
And when conflicts or things rubbed the wrong way in camp, the first thing that came out, this came from several individuals. They sounded exactly like their mom or dad.
Mm.
I was going, oh my God, what was going on? I'm sounding like my father. He's like, you do that. And it was just like something, they're fighting.
Yeah.
And that's why the camp. And that's what the counselors and the whole point of the camp is get it out.
Yeah.
Now see where you really land with this. Do you really hate? Are you going to deny, Abdu's stories, Jeremy? Jeremy, are you going to deny Abdul? Are you going to deny Jeremy's stories?
Mm-hmm.
Do you not have empathy? Does it not ring true, just like in your own family? And so we wanted that to be in the book, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some humor, two truths and then a lie. That little game that's played to
Mm-hmm.
people. But underneath it all, there is, it's historical fiction. The history is accurate. There is a Lowell Thomas that made T.E. Lawrence of Arabia around the
Mm.
world. he was a rock star. He had influence. And it's the first time media created something that the world just went,
Wow.
and then the movie comes out.
Yeah.
And, how many Academy Awards? And,
So many.
you know, but it's the story. And that movie has, there's things that aren't accurate in it, but it certainly introduced us to the Middle East. I mean, Jerusalem absolutely is one of my favorite places that we went to.
Be
Jerusalem,
amazing to visit.
it's just, and Israel, the history. There were wonderful stuff. Petra was magnificent, and going,
Oh.
Karak, seeing Karak de Chevalier, the castle, and having the freedom and the protection to do this, not have to look. I mean, yes, we're very focused and aware, but we weren't being ostracized because we were Americans,
Mm.
because of my religion. I'm a Christian. If you want to give it one.
Yeah.
Jerusalem was, you just want to weep.
Mm.
You do, because you have the four quarters in Jerusalem, the different gates going in, and you have the Wailing Wall. That's one of the names for it. And then you look, above it, and you see the Alaska Mosque. It's like,
Mm.
you had all of these Jewish people, for the most part, finding little pockets to put a prayer in, and a circle of 50, 60 people singing peace songs in the middle of the plaza. And then you look up, and there's the Dome of the Rock, and it's Muslim. And for us traveling through Maghar al-Shaib, the driver stopped the car, and he's going, "Oh yeah, I went to," and his English wasn't good, and we're trying to figure out, and we've got a recording of this. Hey, I sort of want to see Abraham and Moshe here, and and we're going, Abraham and Moshe? Are you saying Abraham and Moses? Yeah, right. Live here. And we're going,
Wow.
Moses lived there? 10 years. 10 years. There. And what we're looking at is a valley, and there's just a few shelters, and it's not like, suburban neighborhood. It's the desert,
Yeah.
and it's protected by mounds and this, and there's wells, and it's like, yes. And so we're going, wait a minute. The religions. We've got Abraham. The Christians own the rights to Abraham and Moses. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? It's in our Bible. They say, it's in our Quran, and
Uh-huh.
it's in our Hebrew. It's in our Bible too. The Torah.
They're all pretty shared. So, like, okay, you go over there, you're listening, you see all these religions all in one place. I mean, this is all their homeland. And what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about religion a little changed? Or you're like, yeah, still kind of firm in your belief?
Yeah. No, I was happy. I
Yeah.
was like, what a fool! What a level of ignorance I've lived in, because
Mm.
I know the Bible. I know the King James version quite well,
Mm-hmm.
and I was interested in it, and understanding what the draw was and how people parse that up. Well, I'm going to be a Catholic. I'm going to be a Methodist. I'm going to be a this. I'm going to, just do unto others you would have them do unto you, and just the rest of
And just call it a day. Agreed. The golden rule and get out.
it. And so it was something amazing by the time we finally got to the King David, which was just a magnificent. It's the old King David Hotel.
Hmm.
Amazing, but so wiped out, tired, and stressed. I mean, just really. Um, if someone says, what's the hardest thing? It was being so on our game and
Mm.
watching, and we had to, you know. I've been asked, well, once you go through a couple of checkpoints, isn't it kind of easy? No, every single one is
But they're
new,
all different,
and
all
you pay attention.
particular.
And so, waking up in the morning and hear the call to prayer, oh my God, I'm going,
Five
am I?
times a day, yeah.
But it's in Jerusalem. I was going, no, man, it can't be in Jerusalem.
This shouldn't be happening.
And he's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, of course it is. All the religions are there.
Which is so, I mean, that's like very cool. It makes religion seem like, okay, there's something there if they're all kind of basing, in this area. And there's just so much history.
Yes,
It's cool. And people will do the walk of like Christ or kind of
yes,
go these areas and follow that path. And it is cool. It's just so old. We don't have that in the United States. Like, we are so fresh and new. We don't have that history. We never will, it feels like.
yeah,
And that is it just feels different. Even just going to like Europe, you're just walking through this
true.
architecture. Like anywhere you go and you just keep going east and it's like, damn, this is cool.
Right, right. Well, standing in the Garden of Gethsemane is just like, how old is that olive tree? Oh, it's over 2,000 years old.
Crazy. Crazy.
And so when I say weep, it's just you realize the intensity of it. But I also felt it in camels in Wadi Rum, and recognizing, the purity, the beauty, 115, 116, 17 degrees, wrapped up in an Arab kit, took off all the heavy jeans, boots, stuff, and just got into exactly what is worn by the local people,
Mhm.
and understanding how perfect it is when you're on a camel in the middle of nowhere, just sand dunes and rock formations, but the
So
sense of
wild.
history still, it's like you can see the sense of time, that it's timeless, I guess,
Mhm.
you know, and it makes you small. And then at night, the stars, give me a break. It's like, I've seen stars, a lot of stars in Colorado, even here in New Mexico, on high mountains, and camping out under the stars and just feeling that, you know, and getting back to Lawrence,
I
because that
love
was the
that feeling
call.
though.
Yeah. Lawrence wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to do right by all these people. And he saw how the Turks treated them. He so admired the German ingenuity and the German, what he saw when he was on archaeological digs in his earlier days. But the way they treated the people was just awful. The way they
Mm,
treated the Armenians, the way they treated the Arabs, the workers on the dig, or the workers
mm,
on the railroad. The Berlin to Baghdad railroad was a railroad that the Germans were intent on getting built as soon as possible. And the First World War stopped all
hmm,
that. It was part of I mean, there's all pieces of the reasons for the war, and people taking this side or that side. But Lawrence really loved the area, and he wanted it to be protected,
mhm.
not to be, Christianized. He just wasn't into that.
No,
People,
the white savior complex is something fierce.
yeah,
And we don't
recall,
need that. We talked about that with Peace Corps too. You don't want to be the white savior.
yeah,
That's not your job.
it's that colonial gaze. I got you covered. you know,
There you go.
I'm going to do this for you, and you're going to do this for me. you know, I want
Yeah.
your, and it's like, wait a minute. And I'd like you to move a little bit over to the left because when we joke about it,
Ugh.
it's so absurd that it actually happened.
I know, it's so absurd. Yeah, just let's shift everything to our
Yeah.
liking. No, it's their place. So, okay, to bring this all together, nowadays we've got the Middle East. So I don't know what it is like to travel to the Middle East. I would love to travel to the Middle East. I feel like Dubai right now has like a big pull for like social media influencers or whatever. People are kind of flocking to Dubai for things. And like it's kind of got a cool reputation. But I feel like it's opening back up through, I don't know if it's TikTok or just, I don't know how it's being connected, but maybe travel is becoming a little more over there. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. What do you think, or what is your advice for traveling to the Middle East? Where would you say that it's safe? What would you wear? And what would be like the best food to get?
Well, local food. The
Yes. Is there a dish that stood out to you though that you were like, man, I could
I
have that every day?
every day. Well, I like all the mezza. I love baba ganoush. I like
Okay.
dipping. I like eating with my hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get into it.
It's like
That's
and
right.
doing, that was just the greatest side of dining traditional style with a great big huge platter and
Ugh.
with like 5 gallons of rice on it, and then there's a goat on top.
Oh, gee.
I know, it sounds strange. And then they've got red onions and stuff. And then the oddest thing is like it says on the can, cola.
Okay.
They're modern. Anyway,
All right.
but the travel, the whole industry, it was beginning in 2006. The secretary general of the tourism was an individual that we were very close to, and
Mhm.
when we actually went to his home, he showed up with jeans, loafers, no socks, no belt, and an "I Love New York" T-shirt,
Okay.
and asked us if we'd like something to add to our orange juice inside Saudi Arabia. My point is that they were recognizing that Saudi Arabia, the Red Sea, that there are areas that can be Carmel Sheikh was done pretty much. It's a resort area in the very southernmost part. I don't know
Okay.
what country it's actually, Sharm el Sheikh, but now there are plans in Saudi Arabia that will blow your mind. It's like what they've done in Dubai, and
Okay.
I've been to Dubai a lot. I was there, when uh, an individual that was connected, he says, yes, 33% of all the cranes in the world, you are seeing them right here. I said, no way.
Really?
Yes. And they were massive. They were building, I mean, the building was just in 2006 and 7 and 8 when I was in the Middle East. This
Mhm.
was epic.
Damn.
You know,
Damn.
the ski Dubai, that was fairly new. You know,
Okay.
it's indoor. The hotels are so magnificent. There is not a single piece of plastic anywhere. Everything is
Ah.
it's inlaid. It's 24 karat gold. There's one place where there's like 6 horses that are huge, and they're rearing up and they're gold plated, and then they have Senegalese uh, greeters that are wearing these long frocks with a belt, and they're all over 7 feet tall. You have to be 7 feet tall, opening the doors of the Lamborghinis and the exotic cars that are people that are going to stay in this magnificent hotel.
What?
And I mean, just very imaginative. This is in Dubai, and the colors, the purple and the different combination of colors is playful,
Mm.
but it's fabulously expensive.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
But so tourism in Saudi is a very big deal. You can look that up online, and there I have actually been approached by. I will be doing podcasts with people that want to know more specifically about Saudi. They're
Cool.
getting up to date with the latest, and then want to know what we saw and where what we did going back in the day.
Nice.
But now there's just billions of dollars, or I mean, if it was American dollars, are being
Yeah.
spent to do very exotic things along the Red Sea.
Epic. I
It
want to
is,
go.
yeah. Well, it would be quite interesting.
So then when can we look forward to this production?
The production of the play, we
Yes.
we are we're on hold right now.
Okay.
We're working through a number of things. Yes,
Exciting stuff.
but it is exciting. Yes, and
Hell yeah.
yeah, yes, we are working on our. We are deeply involved in our next book, and
Good.
Magnus and Finn continue. There
Okay.
we're actually doing pre-sales on the next book on Amazon.
All
Um,
right.
Graphics that are up aren't what we actually have now. We've developed it, but we're very much involved. It's called Havana Familia, and it is
Oh,
about Cuba, Havana.
love.
Yes, and
That is big on my list. I want to go to Cuba so bad.
right. I'm lined up to do that. Miles has been there and done business there. So it takes
Amazing.
place in 2016 when Obama opened everything up, and that's when Miles
Okay.
was there in a big way. And then we have a time travel device, a Bacardi flask
I love that.
that transports us to 1958, the
Okay.
eve just before, and then it's the revolution. It's
Mm,
Che and Fidel make it to town, and they take over New Year's Eve.
okay. Okay. Ooh.
So it's pretty
I'm
cool.
excited for this one.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
going
you
to have
very
to
much.
read it.
Yeah. So, and thank you for reading this one, this book. I have to mention, there are recipes in the book to your listeners, food that we ate. Miles is, I mean, he could be a professional chef. He cooks. He's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So he came up with the idea to have recipes. Let's put the recipes in the books. We do it.
Heck
So
yeah.
we did that, and we continue that with our next book as well.
Oh, good. That's a cool touch.
You break bread with people. That's where you get to know people.
Agreed.
You know.
Agreed. Little
Yeah.
coffee, little
Yes.
breaking of bread,
Yeah.
and all the connection in the world.
Right. Right.
Epic. Well, Wells, thank you so much for coming on the Blazy B podcast and talking to us.
Time, hasn't it? This has been nice.
So great. I'm loving it.
I hope your listeners like it, and that's great.
Heck
That's great.
yeah. So ciao ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao for now.